Hey, y'all. So I want to dig into what happens after he calls us, right? Where we ended yesterday reading with Zacchaeus that he was a new man after his encounter with Jesus. He was not a well-liked man before. He was a tax collector and a thief. And even those, when Jesus said, I'm going to his house, I got to go to your house, Zacchaeus. But it says that Zacchaeus received and welcomed him joyfully. He didn't say, I don't want you to come to my house, or I don't need you to come to my house. He received and welcomed him joyfully. You know, Mark chapter 4 talks about that in the parable of the soils, the sower, parable of the sower sows the word. Verse 20, it says, and those who, let's go back, Mark 4, 8. It says, and other seed of the same kind fell into good, well-adapted soil, and it brought forth much grain, growing up and increasing, and yielding up to 30 times as much, and 60 times as much, and even 100 times as much. And he said, he who has ears to hear, let him be hearing. All right, so Zacchaeus, in hearing the words he received and welcomed him joyfully, reminds me of that fourth type of soil, right? So in the parable of the sower, we have those that are sown along the path, who have the word sown in their heart, but when they hear, Satan comes at once and takes away the message which is sown. And then we have seed that is sown upon stony ground, who hear the word, but they have no real root in them. So they welcome it, but then something happens and they lose it. So that's stony ground. And then those are the ground where the word is sown upon or among thorns. So that's when other things come in and choke out the seed sown. But those sown on good ground, well-adapted soil, are the ones who hear the word and receive it and welcome it. You know, that's the thing, both about Zacchaeus that we've been reading and about the woman caught in the act of adultery. They received the word and were changed. Jesus said, go and sin no more. And the same thing with the woman at the well. You know, Jesus sits down, has conversation with her, and she leaves him changed. But you know, he sat down with her. He conversed with her. And he didn't call her by her past mistakes. He said, here, come, take of me. I'm enough. Let me be enough. And so God, we are told in Romans chapter 4, that he calls those things that be not as though they are. Romans 4:17. It says, as it is written, I have made thee a father of many nations. It's talking about God called that to Abraham, called Abraham that, said, I have made you a father of many nations. Before him whom he believed, even God, who quickens the dead and calls those things which be not as though they are. That is the language of faith. So when he calls Zacchaeus, he calls to Zacchaeus, the Israelite, his chosen people. He does not call him Zacchaeus, the tax collector. When God saw darkness in the beginning, you know, I like to go back to Genesis, where it all started, right? Or where our records start. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and an empty waste, and darkness was upon the face of the great deep. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and it was. So God saw darkness, but called light, and light was. And so in the same way, he called Abraham a father of many, which Abraham was old and without children, unable to have children, yet he called him the father because he saw who he destined him to be. And in the same way, he calls you by name. He calls you his child because he sees who he's destined you to be. Not where you may be stuck in this moment, but who he's made you to be. And we'll pick up tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.